Welcome to Life and Tech channel. This video is how to replace your brake pads.
So this here is a 2000 Volvo S40. It's a 19-year-old vehicle. I probably replaced the brakes, the rotors and brake pads maybe 3 times now in its lifetime. So this time I'm just replacing the brake pads because the rotors are still in good condition. But just feel out your rotors, make sure that the surface is smooth and it's not warped. Or else you may have to get new rotors or just get it resurfaced. So things that you'll need for this job, of course, your replacement brake pads. So this time I went with ceramic. It's quieter and it stops better, it doesn't squeak. So I'm going to try this CARQUEST brake pads from Advanced Auto Parts. A wrench, maybe this edge screwdriver here just to pry things off. Maybe you need to compress the calipers for your vehicle. It depends. So you may need this tool right here. Maybe brake fluid and brake parts cleaner. Okay, you just spray off maybe some corroded parts or parts that have brake dust, just to give the brake caliper and other parts of the brakes some nice cleaning. So first we have to loosen these bolts. This is what hold the caliper on the rotor. So you just have to loosen it up. There's one bolt right here and one bolt right underneath here. Once you've taken off the bolts, this loosens the top part of the caliper, and now you can just use your hands to just take that off right here. Alright, next is make sure that you don't drop the caliper. Don't leave that hanging, because it's going to stretch this brake fluid line right here. Okay, so I used a rubber zip tie, a rubber string tie to secure the caliper, and I just wrapped it around the strut right here. Okay. Once you have the top part of the caliper set aside, you should now be able to take off the brake pads from this part of the caliper. If you're having a hard time taking it off, you can loosen the bolts in the back here. Okay? And just simply wiggle it to take it off, front and back. Once you've taken off the brake pads from the front and from the back, normally you would see corrosion on these parts where the old brake pads were sitting. Right? It's rusted, brake dust, corrosion buildup. Give it a good clean. So normally I would spray it with brake parts cleaner first, and then maybe use a flathead screwdriver to clean away the corrosion, so that when the new brake pads sit in there, it's all going to be balanced. You won't see any, feel any vibrations, things like that. So it's really a good practice to do some cleaning first before installing the new brake pads. Insert the new brake pads. Before compressing the calipers, take off the cap of the brake reservoir, because during compression, all the brake fluid that's in the line will go up here, will rise up here. So it's always good to take off the cap. I've now installed the new brake pads, as you can see right there. So next is, since the new pads are thicker, way thicker than the old pads that I took out, you will need, well, sometimes you will need to compress the top part of the caliper. So that tool that I showed you earlier, which is this right here, this one right here. Right. I used the old brake pads on this side, and then just so you know, this part pushes this part of the caliper to compress that, make it more wide. And then once that's compressed, what we need to do is put this back on this part of the brakes.